Good morning, gang. This is Joyce Welsh with Skipping Calves Farms. The chore that I'm working on this morning on the farmstead is moving the poultry pen and the chicken tractor. Now, I've already taken the poultry pen down, then I noticed I had a problem, and I thought I would document that for you, and hopefully maybe it'll help you down the road. As you can kind of see, going back to where that charger is, I had the poultry pen lined up in an alley. Let me go this way. In an alley to about where I'm standing now. So between the fence line there and the willows on this side, it was a lane going back to where you can see where the sheep were. And I apologize, I do speak a little slower, so if you need to speed it up so you don't get bored, I totally understand. So I got it to here, and now I'm gonna pivot around. And I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try and rehabilitate more of my property than I have been in the past with my chickens. So I'm standing at where the edge of the poultry pen was. Chickens have never been down in this area before. In this back corner, I let the sheep in back here, but it wasn't real successful. There's a lot of wood. They like that dark green Bermuda type grass, but there's also a lot of little stumps, and there's a lot of goldenrod. And so they really didn't come back in here and do a whole bunch. With that in mind, I really don't want them fertilizing the goldenrod. I came back in here and was able to weed eat down the goldenrod, so you can see how the grass came in. I want to give that grass an opportunity to shade that goldenrod and keep it from going to seed. As I swing over here, you can see how tall the goldenrod is on the other side of the fence. I mean, look at it. It's easily 3 foot tall. I'm gonna have to come back and weed eat that on the outside of the perimeter fence. You can see both the perimeter fence and the poultry pen fence right there. So I'm gonna take the poultry pen fence down around the perimeter, bring it around behind this crooked oak tree in front of those cinder blocks, and bring it back around, and you can kind of see where it's lying on the ground here. Well, what I discovered, and the purpose of this video, is there is a little bit of damage in, sorry about that, gang. Thought I dropped something. Little bit of damage in my fence. Let me show you. Here is a rod, and as you can see, the bottom where it sticks into the ground tucks into a groove, and that holds the bottom down. And then you have, I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Bear with me here as I kind of, okay. And then you can see at the top line goes into, let's see if I can get that to focus in on that instead of my hand. The top line goes into a groove that's kind of offset. Whoops. There we go. Finally got it to focus. So you can see where that top line goes into a groove that's kind of offset and holds it in place so it can rotate. Well, as I was setting it out and moving it up, I realized that on this post, as you can see, that bottom's not hooked in. I was not able to hook that loop without unhooking, likewise unhooking, as you can see the kink there, the loop that goes in this groove. So I tried several times doing it by hand, and because of the nature of the loose weave on the polyester line, I went back into kind of my little work area by my truck box, and let's see if I can do this way for you, and made this little tool. It's just a used piece of 14 gauge steel wire that I bent over in a real tiny hook, because I realized in looking and trying to think, how did they originally manufacture this and how did this hook in, that on the bottom, as you can hopefully see, you can see that hole at the bottom, and there's like a little ridge in front. So what happens is they pull a loop up from what's now the bottom, which would be at the top. So you pull the loop up through and hook over that little ridge at the bottom, and then pull it tight, and then it should stay in place. And then you can hook the top line back in, and it won't give it enough wiggle room to slip out. But evidently when I was pulling it, with everything being wet and whatever, it went ahead and slipped on out. So I tried twisting and I tried pushing, and you've heard the saying many times, it's a whole lot easier to pull a rope than to push a rope. So with that in mind, gang, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and work with this hook coming through from the bottom to the top to hook that black line, so I can pull that black line up and through and work it around that bar and then tuck it back down. I've also got some needle nose pliers and a couple of other tools with me to help me do that. But obviously I'm here by myself, and I'm going to need both hands to do it. So my point is this. You've heard me say it over and over again, and I'll say it one more time. What you think or what you believe is really not important. How you think and how you connect the dots is key. That's the difference between a successful grazer, somebody who makes a profit raising livestock, and somebody who has to keep a town job just to pay the bills. And so my point is, I was in a hurry. I've got a lot of things to do today on a very tight timeline, but this is something that I could have easily ignored and could have easily turned into a train wreck. Why? Because now that bottom line's not being held down anymore. All of a sudden, I lose my whole flock of chickens because somebody props it up or it gets stuck maybe 2 moves down the road because I didn't notice it, or I noticed it and didn't pay attention to it and didn't fix it at the time. So with that, gang, I'm going to go ahead and complete this repair and put the poultry fence in, move the chicken tractor over here. I'm going to leave it in place for several days at a time as I move it through this area, because I really want the chickens to come in and hammer this area, because I don't want I want the animal impact, but I don't want to put the sheep in here, because it's not in the best interest of the animal performance for my sheep to get to bring them back in here at this time. And it's still early in the morning, and if I can zoom in, the sheep have just come back into their fold. If you can see, they're busy chewing their cud. They got their fill in a real quick hurry. So with that, gang, I'm I hope these videos are helpful, especially for the new guys and the guys that didn't grow up on the land. There's lots of little things that farmers do that they never talk about. And dealing with things like this is one of the things that nobody ever talks about, because it's just something that they grew up doing. You do it every day, you fix it, and you move on. And with that, gang, let me pan up back to my Annie mules and get them back into focus for you. And let me, with that, wish you blessings for the day. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Even if you just like the idea of what I'm trying to do, please like and subscribe. And with that, I wish you blessings for the day. And whatever you do, keep chasing the dream.